Missus is coming out. The trailer came out. So much of love. I think it's a perfect cast of having Sanya Malhotra.
She's
So
fabulous.
this is inspired by the Great Indian.
Absolutely,
Kitchen,
we bought the rights.
You have bought the rights.
It's a fantastic original film.
So when we add the fact that you have co-written it, can you explain a little more
it's
about
more of an
it?
adaptation, I would say. For us, when I saw the film, it was more about, it's a great story in essence. The essence is great, the theme is great, everything that it stands for is brilliant.
You started your career as an actor, and everybody wanted to know about Love Story 2050.
Yeah.
Can you tell us that what was the moment in your life, or when was it that your dad had told you, okay, now you are ready?
I think it was after my dad saw me maybe for 3-4 years struggle it out day in and day out, making sure I live up to the expectation, because he was making films with Ajay Devgan sir and Sunny Deol, and he was working with these big stars, and for him to to kind of break away from that and say, okay, I'm going to now put my energy onto this boy. I think over and above being his son, it was important for me to at least bring that much to the table that he feels like I'm worthy of it, and honestly, my parents have always been very hard taskmasters, very, very hard.
Love Story 2050 was different. What's your Rashi? I think a lot of people who watched it on TV have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because of the different roles that Priyanka has played, and with the accent that you come up with.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard this like 10,000 times. Let me just add one more on how when you came into the industry, there was a clear-cut comparison with Hrithik Roshan.
Yeah.
How were you taking that?
I mean, I don't think comparisons are good for anyone.
Yeah.
To be honest, now also when I'm working, I'm producing stuff, I'm talking to actors, and it's human nature. We do that very often in life as well. When we meet someone, we're like, "Arey, this one reminds me of this one." It's just normal to us, right?
Maybe we should see you and Priyanka again, probably for old time's sake.
Yeah, well, that'll be a tough one. Hi, this is Harman Baweja, and you're watching me on Bollywood Hungama.
Hi guys, welcome to Bollywood Hungama. मेरा नाम है Urmin, and the actor, producer, screenwriter with us, Harman Baweja. How are you doing?
I'm very good.
I'm so happy to see you, because let me just start by saying that watching you on Scoop was a treat. It was a delight, and congratulations. We're so happy that you were back.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasant surprise for me also.
Are the compliments fitting in well? Are you enjoying, the kind of love that Scoop gave you?
Absolutely. I think, I think for any talent, the one thing you really, which kind of tops the list is the adulation, the love for what you've done, And I think with Scoop I got more than I imagined for sure. So I think I'm very happy and absolute gratitude for that.
पर आपसे एक कंप्लेंट भी है, आप हम इंटरव्यूअर्स वालों की लाइफ थोड़ी सी डिफिकल्ट करते हैं, बिकॉज एवरी टाइम वी मीट यू हम समझ नहीं पाते आज किस किरदार में मिल रहे हैं. एक्टर है, प्रोड्यूसर है, अब मिसेस के लिए आप को राइटर भी है, मतलब हाउ आर यू मैनेजिंग ऑल ऑफ दिस?
Well, I mean, I love anything and everything to do with films, to be honest. So for me, it's almost a joy to wake up and get to office, and that's something that I always maintain, that so long as I'm excited to wake up and come to office, I'm probably doing the right thing. Of course, you have good days and bad days. There are days where you're like, oh God, I've got to deal with all this today, but it's part and parcel.
What is a bad day like?
Well, a bad day is when you are not being able to crack a script and you're stuck, and it's been a while since you've been able to put it together. A bad day is when I think that's pretty much the epitome of my bad day right now, and let's hope it stays around there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Touch wood. Let's just touch wood on that. Harman, क्योंकि आप Bollywood से इतने घिरे हुए थे when you were growing up also. Can you tell us what was your childhood like? कैसे गुजरा आपका बचपन?
I think it was very. My most learnings came from there. I was I think 12, 13 when I started visiting film sets. Mom was producing. Dad was directing, and obviously post school, you finish everything and then you probably end up on set because both the parents were there and there was no one at home to take care of you, and you would end up being on set, and we would sit in one corner, do a little bit of homework, but also kind of take in everything on the set. And I was trying to balance life, I would say, from my parents' perspective. But I think it was a great learning.
Did you have friends who you would tell stories to? Because this is not a normal childhood.
Yeah. I mean, of course. But like most of my friends, I think by the time my dad kind of started, doing those mainstream films, and I think by the time we got there, and pretty much already set my group of friends. We're still buddies. We still have a group on, and
are they from the film industry too?
I mean, yes, of course, I have a section of friends who are from the film business, who are very, very close friends. But back in school, they were all school buddies. None of them have anything to do with the film industry. Yeah, they're all either chartered accountants or bankers, and the quintessential one's a teacher. So everyone's got different things to do, and we just had a reunion about 2 weeks ago.
And now being a producer, you have to be more friendly with them.
No, I think with childhood friends, you don't. Nothing comes your way. You could be hitting it out of the park, and they still wouldn't care. Like, for them, it doesn't matter, and that's how it should be. I think that's what friends are for, right? It's the chosen family, and yeah.
So you started your career as an actor, and everybody wanted to know about Love Story 2050.
Yeah.
Can you tell us that what was the moment in your life, or when was it that your dad had told you, okay, now you're ready? How did that happen?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. I think
because again, you're like the debate of having a film background and not having a film background is always there.
Of course.
Then there are people who are constantly struggling. They've decided कि मैं actor बनना चाहता हूँ, दूसरे जगह से आ रहे हैं, auditions दे रहे हैं. आपके घर परिवार में ही ये बहुत ही अहम हिस्सा था. आपको कब लगा कि हाँ चलो यही करना है अब?
I think it was after my dad saw me maybe for 3-4 years struggle it out day in and day out, making sure I live up to the expectation, because he was making films with RJ sir and Sunny Deol, and he was working with these big stars, and for him to to kind of break away from that and say, okay, I'm going to now put my energy onto this boy. I think over and above being his son, it was important for me to at least bring that much to the table that he feels like I'm worthy of it, and honestly, my parents have always been very hard taskmasters, very, very hard. And I, that time obviously you're just like frustrated and, like, why am I being pushed so much, but I think now when you sit back and look at it in hindsight, you kind of thank them for it, because, they make you the person you are, So I think it was, I don't know the exact time when he must have thought about it, but I went through my bit of grind, and, it was humble beginnings to start with. When my dad came to Bombay, it was, he used to live in a place called Khalsa Chawl in Kandivali, I remember, and, worked his way from there. So, it was, it's been a fun journey. No
I mean, and we can see that, and we can see you, experimenting. That's a great word. I think it's a very underrated word also, experimenting, and then knowing that, okay, maybe not this, then this, not this, then this. Was that something that, it came as a challenge for you to move on from acting to producing?
I think, to start with, I'm from that background, right? So I've seen it firsthand. Our dinner table conversations, our breakfast conversations were around films, was about producing, was about directing, was about writing. I've been to so many of my dad's writing sessions, sitting with a dictaphone, taking notes and, fairing them out and then sharing it with the writers. So, once done that, once done pretty much everything that an assistant has to do, So I guess the transition to, I actually produced my first film. In fact, so funny talking to you, because yesterday I was at the airport. We were on a recce in Dehradun, and at the airport I ended up meeting Chirantan Das, also known as Chiruda. He's a well-respected DOP, and his first film was a film called Ye Kya Ho Raha Hai, which I had produced when I was 21, even before I started acting. So that was being directed by Hansal Mehta, and I'd kind of I think we put together a team which was all relatively new. It was Hansal's second film. It was Chiruda's first. Hemal Kothari, who's now become a very, very well-renowned editor, it was his first. Remo D'Souza, Bosco.
Your first.
I was the youngest person on crew, So I remember growing a French beard, just trying to look older than I am. I used to wear shirts so that people could take me seriously, But so I think I produced, wrote, did a lot of editing, a lot of that before I kind of got into acting. So, when things obviously did not pan out the way I would have wanted them to pan out as an actor, then I think the natural transition was to kind of go into a space which I still love so much, and here I am, you know.
But I have to give it to you on trying out very different genres. Love Story 2050 was different. What's your Rashi? I think a lot of people who watched it on TV have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because of the different roles that Priyanka has
Yeah,
played,
of
and
course.
with the accent that you come up with.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard this like 10,000 times. Let me just add one more on how when you came into the industry, there was a clear-cut comparison with Hrithik Roshan.
Yeah.
How were you taking that?
I mean, I don't think comparisons are good for anyone.
Yeah.
To be honest, you know, now also when I'm working, I'm producing stuff, I'm talking to actors, and you know, it's human nature. We do that very often in life as well. When we meet someone, we're like, "Arey, this one reminds me of this one." It's just normal to us, right? But I think it puts undue pressure on any talent for that matter,
Right.
and we've seen that with so many, you know, I would say second generation talent. You know, whether it's in the music field, you know, whether it's in the singing field, whether it's in the acting field or directing for that matter. You know, there's always that pressure. So while you do have the platform, you're also dealing with the pressure on the other side. So, you know, like I said, there are no free lunches. Nothing's as straightforward and easy as it seems. You know, I think at every level, you know, there is hard work and there is ups and downs, there's struggles. And I think you have to, you know, keep walking. You know, be
Did
like,
did you analyze yourself as an actor? What did you think of yourself? Like, just as a viewer.
Yeah, no, I think today when I look back, you see, when you're in it, it's too close to you to kind of be objective about anything. You know, it's like when you're getting out of a relationship, you know, I'm sure we've all had this at some point in life when a friend or someone's dating someone and then the breakup happens and then you're like, dude, I told you before this is not going to work out. And then, you know, the guy's like, but why did you guys tell me before? He said, because you just cannot understand because you're very much in that moment, you know. So I think when you kind of move away from things, is when you can sit back and analyze, you know, the mistakes you made, you know, what you needed to learn. Because when things go wrong, it's very easy to blame everyone but yourself, right? You sit down and say, God, why me? You know, I did so much work and I worked so hard. And I've had those conversations with my dad and my mom would say, well, you may have worked really hard and you've put in 14, 15 hours a day. There are people out there who work even harder than you. So, you know, so it's not necessarily about hard work, it's about doing the right work, right?
But it's also a tough industry to accept and then to also like pull you down with every new project, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel this as a challenge to, you know, mentally balance life?
You know, I think that happens in almost every profession. The only difference is that our profession, things get amplified because we are in the media and entertainment business. So it's kind of seen more.
Everywhere, yeah.
You know?
And everyone wants to know what's happening.
Exactly. So what happens is that you're analyzed a lot more. You know, it's more in your face. But I think everyone goes through those ups and downs, you know, and I think it's only fair. You know, when you make a film and you expect a lot of love for it, and then you rejoice in it. Like you're talking about Scoop, right? And I'm equally hopeful about Mrs., right?
Yeah.
And we've done the festival rounds and we've got a lot of love for it, a lot of adulation. And then you really take it all in and you're like, yes, you know, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And well, if you haven't delivered and you're going to get flack for it, then you've got to take that as well. Because, you know, if you're happy to take this side of the pie, then you should be prepared for the other side. Though it's harder on this side, obviously, because it's not, you're not getting love, you're getting flack. But I think as in when you get more and more experience with time, you know, you tend to not let
things affect.
The highs be very high for you. You tend to tone it down. You know, when things are happening good, you're like, okay, let's, because you know it's for that moment only.
That's true. That's a very way to put it also.
So
do you remember any kind of headlines that you had read about yourself during that time when your films didn't work out, and how did you take it?
I mean, I think
because at that time Insta वगैरह तो कुछ नहीं था.
हाँ, तो headlines तो मुझे इतनी अच्छी memory नहीं है मेरी. I'm not known for being someone who has a great memory, to be honest. But I can tell you the emotions are never good when you read a headline which is not in favor. You know, but like I'm saying, right? It's happened in the past. It'll happen to maybe some of my films which I'm producing now, maybe in the future. Hopefully never, but I can only be hopeful about it. Because you know, one is obviously experimenting, one is trying to do so many different things. You're gonna hit some, you're gonna miss some.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you do feel dejected, you know. But like I said, right now for me it is like, okay, you know, if you're gonna give me the love, then you deserve to also tell me that I didn't like what you made, and it's fine.
Harman, how would you define yourself as a producer?
I think Wow, that's a tough one.
I think I should ask the actors.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need to maybe ask my directors. You should ask the team inside. But I think for me, and not I can't say for me. I'll have to speak on behalf of everyone that I work with. The teams of the individual films and our in-house team as well. Uh, I think the one thing that we're very clear about is to constantly strive for. I don't want to use the word good content because I think that's something that everyone strives for. But is to kind of have content which is thematically very strong.
Okay.
Right. And to find the fine balance between making sure that we make content that is entertaining, because I think that's very important, because we are, like we constantly say, we're in the M&E business, we're in the media and entertainment business.
Yeah.
So we have to entertain you first, right? And then if my theme, a strong message is kind of seeped in beautifully, seamlessly into a film, you'll retain it a lot more. No one wants to hear a lecture. Like, I mean, I'm sure you recall your days. I recall my days. If my mom or dad or school teachers will sit down and give me a lecture, I don't want to hear it, But under the garb of something, if I can get home a message through and still be entertained, I think I'd love to watch a film like this. I'd love to watch anything, which entertains me to start with.
But for a producer like yourself, a good script or fine big actors, what would matter more? Please don't say both, because sometimes it kind of becomes, even great actors with bad scripts give us a hit.
Yeah, I think let's look at it this way, right? A good script will always attract the right actors.
Okay.
Right?
Wow. Yeah.
So if you're working on the raw material of what filmmaking is, right? Our raw material is what? It's scripts.
Right.
So if you manage to put together a great script, then nothing stops you from getting the right actors for it. And when we say right actors, whether the right actor could be a very big star, could be someone who's right for the part who could become a star after the film, right? So I think eventually when we talk about big stars, it was the good scripts that made them the big stars. So I think it boils down to getting the right script, if that's the short answer for it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Do you also see a trend in the industry happening? For the past few years, action films have been doing so well. You don't seem to be someone who is behind the rat race of just following a trend.
Yeah.
But what is it that you figured out about the flavor of the industry right now, currently as a producer?
I think action films have always been around. I mean, listen, from ever since, from I won't even say Bachchan sir's era. I'm saying pre that era. There's always Dharamji, Vinod Khanna. The action films have always been around. Yes, the way we made them, the way we package them, may have changed now. I think the industry, if you study it over the last 3-4 decades, you'll see these cyclical moments, right? Where at one point romantic comedies was everything.
Yeah.
And then you had these family dramas becoming the talk of the town. And then you kind of went into these, action films, which are now. So you kind of go through these phases, right? And, like horror comedies right now, I mean, we have hitting it off the roof. So, but effectively, the good action films are doing well.
Yeah.
There are lots of action films that are being made, but not necessarily all of them do well. So a genre can never technically, in my opinion, over-index. It'll always be a film that can over-index. So you have to work on a good film. And I think as an audience, you enjoy watching good films. I mean, at least I do. And I know most of us do, right? And I think we are all open to watching all kinds of films.
Yeah.
I think we've all grown up. Everyone in this room and everyone who's probably hearing this interview has watched an action film, has watched a comedy, has watched a soulful film, has watched every sort of film, has also watched TV, has watched OTT, has scrolled on their phone. So we consume all kinds of content. So I don't think I'm stuck to any one genre in my head, like with
So you wouldn't want your production house to be termed as only family-oriented film or only action-related film or horror comedy for that matter.
No,
that's not what you
I think
want.
horror comedy I'll leave to Dino to do. No one can do it, and a lot of other things to leave for him to do because he does it best. But I think, but no, I think for me it's more about just making sure that we are a content house, production house that builds beautiful stories, which have a fine balance of entertainment and thematic quality. I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
We're constantly striving for it. So far, so good. And everything that's lined up is looking,
Yeah, there's a lot that's lined up. But before that, Mrs. is coming out. The trailer came out. So much of love. I think it's a perfect cast of having Sanya Malhotra.
She's
so
fabulous.
This is inspired by the Great Indian.
Absolutely,
Tradition,
we bought the rights.
You have bought the rights.
It's a fantastic original film.
So when we add the fact that you have co-written it, can you explain a little more?
It's
about
more of an
it?
adaptation, I would say. For us, when I saw the film, it was more about it's a great story in essence. The essence is great, the theme is great, everything that it stands for is brilliant. But then you want to adapt the story. And when Aarti, myself, and Anu, when we started getting into the writing of it, initially you feel when you're making, when you have source material which is so strong, लगता है कि हाँ ठीक है थोड़ी जल्दी बन जाएगी. It's actually one of those scripts that took us the longest to kind of put together, because you have something which is so pristine and beautiful, but you definitely have a lot of thoughts and ideas that you want to add to it and kind of take it hopefully to another level. But at the same time, you don't want to disrupt something which it stands for. So to find that right balance is always a challenge. But yeah, I think I remember watching the film and saying, dude, this has to be something that I want to make. And of course, see, there's a large part of an audience which consumes Hindi-speaking content, right? Because that's their comfort zone. And that gave birth to Mrs. Got Aarti on board, and she's fabulous. I'm so happy that I got her. Again, she's someone who's perfectly balanced. She's not like gotten into this whole thing of I'm a woman and I'm going to drive this narrative through that lens. And I think that's why we interacted a lot, because there was a male perspective to everything, and that's how the writers' room kind of came alive. But Sania, I don't have to say much about her. She's just, I think she's really pushed herself even more in this one. I know we've all loved her performances so far, but I can tell you with utmost confidence, you'll still be even more taken aback, surprised by watching the way she's performed in Mrs.
Harman, since we are in the era of pan-India films, films are either having subtitles, of course, or another language being dubbed in. So why was the need of a Hindi particular film taken from, the Great Indian
Well, see, at the time when we got the rights, the film was only available in Malayalam, which was the original language, and it was with subtitles. But I believe there's a large part of the audience which is still interested in watching an original film, right? In a language which they're just comfortable to consume without actually getting into subtitles. And I think that's, sometimes you see a story and you're like, there's an audience which has seen it, but there's also an audience that has not, and they would probably be equally excited to watch that film if it was made in a I would say slightly different manner, in a different language, and that's where the idea came from. But yeah, in general now with these big theatrical films that are coming out and they're pan India, obviously those films, it makes no sense to remake them anymore.
Do you think that slowly, steadily, we might just have pan India films and not adaptations?
I absolutely, and I think that's in the near future. Where the lines are going to get very blurred. They're already blurred. And, at the end of the day, it is the Indian film industry as a whole, So I think every language film, the beauty of it is that we are such a wide, we have such a, I would say, such a big nation. We have so many different cultures, so many different languages. And as you get more and more local about them, there are so many things that, you may think but you don't. I know people, when they have a perspective of, I'm from Punjab, you can have a look at Punjab and you think that's what Punjab is all about, right? But when you go into Punjab, there is a whole different culture, there's a whole different way of living, being, existence, relationships, everything is evolved, right? And as if that can be made to a pan-India level, people enjoy it, because eventually you're watching a part of your culture, but a different segment of it. So I think it's we're going to see more of this pan-India, happening. But at the same time, I feel one has to stay true to your world, and then if it travels, it travels.
But are we going to see more of you acting?
Not in the near future, no.
Why?
I'm just too focused on...
Did you see the compliments you got for Scoop?
Yeah, that was great, right? So might as well leave the compliments there and don't mess it up. You've got the compliments, you don't want to spoil it up by doing something and say, "Arey, yaar, ye kya kar diya isne?" So I'll leave it there right now till probably something comes my way, which I think is
Maybe
amazing.
we should see you and Priyanka again, probably, for old time's sake.
Yeah, well, that'll be a tough one.
All right, so tell us more about your other projects. Chiriyawood
came out and that's doing really well. And of course, Jackie sir, Siku, Neeta ma'am, and I think, with Ravi sir directing it, Ravi Jadhav, obviously, phenomenal director. So yeah, I think that's out there. There's obviously Mrs. due to release now. Dil Ka Darwaza is something we've just finished filming for with Vikas Bell directed, and that's with Siddhant and Vamika and Jaya ma'am. So that's something I'm very excited about. There are a couple of films that we start filming now in the near future, in the next month or so. One with Ashwini Iyer Tiwari. There's one with Suparn Verma. There's a few. I'm gonna start bringing them out as and when time is ready.
So how did the rumor come out of you being part of Ramayana?
You should tell me that. You're in the business of
We want
understanding
you to just-
rumors
we want you to
and
clarify.
a source
like,
that you can't mention. So I think maybe you
हमारे
need to.
sources ने बताया.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel there is no source.
हम
It's
ही
just
हैं.
a fiction of imagination. Just wake up one by one and say, ये लिख देते हैं और वे एक source ने बताया है.
So no Ramayana happening with you. Like you're not part of it.
Well, as of officially, no.
And what is unofficially then?
See, now that you have to find out from your sources, right?
See, you have to tell us everything. This is like a truth zone.
Yeah, is it?
वरना बाहर नहीं जा पाएंगे.
I'm playing with you how you play with us. Now you're like, this guy.
Oh yeah. Now you
Yeah.
made us think.
Yeah.
This could be our headline. Maybe.
Maybe.
Harman Baweja part of Ramayana. Maybe.
Hi, this is Harman Baweja, and you're watching me on Bollywood Hungama.